Good morning and welcome to chapter 9 of this super story. Okay, at dusk, Lily walked along the dark landing. She'd been summoned again to see Madame and was dawdling nervously, stepping outside each room on her way and touching each locked door with her hand. Here was the library, with books piled outside because there was no space on the shelves within. Here, Papa's study, with the buzzer inside it and the spy hole so he could see who was coming and going. Then his workroom, the big metal door, had the words "Do not disturb" painted on the surface beneath a lightning bolt. Finally, his bedroom, the master suite. Since he'd gone, Madame has certainly wasted no time taking it over. Lily knocked on the door, and without waiting for a reply, entered. The green velvet curtains were partly drawn across the far window to keep out the cold, and on the bedside table a small gas lamp glowed with a flattering light. Madame Verdigris perched primly at Mamma's dressing table, applying lotion to her face. The odour of her perfume, mixed with the dusty scent of dried flowers, which filled every vase in the room, made Lily feel vaguely sick. She went and stood by the window, glancing out into the night. In the garden, under the skeletal trees, the falling snow had almost covered Miss Tock and Mr. Wingnut, just like Papa himself, as machines were gradually disappearing. Soon they'd be invisible, hidden under the frosty white surfaces like secrets. If she could only find their keys, she might be able to help them. "Why have you let those mechanicals wind down?" she asked. Madame glanced up from the mirror, her face almost hidden beneath a mask of cold cream. "Is that what the rusty rebel in the kitchen's been telling you, ma chérie?" "I noticed it for myself." "Of course you did." Madame plucked a rogue hair from the mole on her chin and winced. Then she applied some paste from Mamma's shellac case over the spot. Lily felt sick. Papa had kept those things in Mamma's memory, but they'd not been used since she died, not until now. "You've been through those possessions," she muttered. Madame dabbed rosewater onto her chin with her bony finger. "Whatever Mrs. Russ said, Lily, there's something I want you to bear in mind. All mechanicals are liars. Never take the word of a common mech over a human being." Tears pricked Lily's eyes. She kicked at the carpet. "Mrs. Russ is not a common mech. She's been with us always. She understands. She looked after me every day since Mamma's death, and she'll look after me until my Papa returns, just like the others." "Your father will not return. I'm in charge, Maintenon." "No?" Lily shook her head. The belief had been growing in her heart that somewhere her Papa was alive. "He'll return, I know, and Mrs. Russ has more love in her little metal finger than you have in your entire bony body. So don't ever tell me to take your word over hers again." "Have you quite finished, Azizou? Sit down with me." Madame patted the velvet seat beside her. Lily sniffed and blew her nose on the sleeve. "Perfectly fine here, thank you." She folded her arms across her chest. "As you prefer." Madame took up the washcloth and began wiping the ghostly white cream from her face. "But I wish you wouldn't question my decisions. You know I was the one who suggested your father send you to Miss Scrimshaw's academy. I thought it would do you good, though. Frankly, I see scant evidence of that." With a last flick of the washcloth, she cleaned a hint of coal from her eyebrows. Lily noticed that they were plucked unevenly, and their opposing angles made her look like she wore two expressions at once. "You could at least try to behave in a way that would make your father proud." Madame stood and indicated the seat in front of the mirror. "Now, s'il vous plaît, let me tidy you up." Lily lingered by the window. Then she did as she was told. "I have been considering our situation." Madame picked up Mamma's old silverback hairbrush from the nightstand and began brushing Lily's hair, tugging at the tangles. Lily winced and gritted her teeth as Madame hacked him to please try not with a hairbrush. "You are no longer a young lady of means," Madame says. "Plus, we've no money to speak of. If we remain here, we'll be obliged to sell Mrs. Russ and the other mechanicals." "Please," Lily sobbed, "you can't." "They barely function. They're all wound down. The other day, Mrs. Russ poured engine oil into my soup instead of cream. Anyone would think she wanted to poison me." Madame took some hairpins from the glass pot and pricked at Lily's head with them. "No, one mechanicals get like that. One is constantly buying upgrades. A malheureusement Malheureusement, Lily, we can't afford the parts. Lily shook her head. I don't care. Mrs. Ross is staying. They all are. Désolé. But we have no choice. The housekeeper stuck another hairpin, scraping it against Lily's scalp. Unless you know something of superior value, an invention of your papa's we might sell. A perpetual motion machine, for example. Her piercing eyes watched Lily in the mirror, and she gave a vicious tug on a strand of unruly hair. I don't know what you mean, Lily said. I don't know what that is. The woman had too many questions. It felt as if she was poking around at her insides. Lily tried to blink back her tears, but they rolled down her cheek. Don't get upset, my chérie, Madame cooed. If we want to save Mrs. Russ in the house, then we need to discuss things like adults. There, c'est fini. She inserted a last hairpin and stood back to look at her creation. C'est magnifique, don't you think? Lily regarded her tower of pinned hair in the mirror. It looked like, unlike the terrible hair monstrosities the girls in her class were so fond of. It's a mess, she said. It's like everything else. That night, Lily dreamed of a clear sky and shimmering stars reflected on the ocean. It was summer and she was running along the beach trying to catch Papa and Mama, who walked ahead. When she stumbled, Mama stopped and bent down to take her tiny hand to help her up. Then the three of them walked on together. Papa carried his walking cane and used it to point out landmarks, rows of iron ships and tall spider platforms out to the sea collecting gas and oil for industry that Lily didn't understand. They weaved their way along the tide line of the bay, while Lily ran in and out of the shallows, letting the seawater rush cold across her feet and jumping away from the breakers. Mama found something, a stone in the sand. She picked it up. This is for you, she said, giving it to Lily. Lily took the stone and studied it. It was heavy, and the underside felt lumpy in her palm. What is it? She asked. Mama reached out and turned the stone over in her hand, revealing a bright golden fossil as its centre, like the curving shell of a snail. An animite, she said. How did it get there? Papa crowded in beside Mama, peering over her shoulder. Billions of years ago, when it died, he said, it sank into the mud and was buried. Then minerals seeped up in slowly, replacing the organic matter until it was petrified. It's the pyrite that gives it that gold colour. Fool's gold. Lily looked at the fossil. So it's been hidden inside the stone forever until we found it. Yes, said Mama, that's the secret at the heart of it. She put her hand onto Lily's face. Suddenly the three of them were in the carriage, in the dark cobbled streets of London's driving home, surrounded by falling snow. The sounds of the city were muffled, but Lily knew at once what day this was. It was the day of the accident. She sat at the back seat of the steam hansom, wedged between Mama and Papa. The metal chimney chuffed and sputters, and the wooden wheels creaked and turned as the mechanical cabby in the exterior driver compartments steered them home. They had been out to dinner. Mama had a taffeta red dress with beautiful lapels, and her long dark hair hung loose about her shoulders, her warm hand clasping Lily's leg. Papa wore his tall top hat that grazed the roof of the carriage, his suit tails, which made him look like a penguin, unfolded under his legs. Lily still held the stone Mama had given her in her hand. As if she jumped from one moment to the next, she glanced at the beautiful golden ammonite, buried at the heart of the rock. When she flipped the stone between her fingers, it looked as if the fossil disappeared and reappeared. The secret's at the heart of it, she whispered. Her parents were talking together over her head, soft words gliding back and forth, accompanied by warm laughter. Lily glanced down. On the floor of the carriage between Papa's feet was a darkly varnished rosewood box with polished brass corners. Odd. She'd had this dream many times, and yet she had never noticed it before. What's inside? She asked Papa. My invention, Papa said. We have to keep it safe and hidden. It's a secret like your fossil. He nodded at the stone in her hand. Why? Lily asked. She suddenly knew she'd had this conversation before. The box, the words, everything. It all seemed strangely familiar, like it was all part of a memory rather than a dream. Papa opened his mouth to reply, but no words came, and Lily saw through the windscreen the other steam wagon. careering towards them, the other drivers flashing silver eyes in the moonlight, the sweep of his headlamps across the windscreen, the screaming skid as his wheels crunched across the icy cobbled road. Then Lily felt the impact. A deafening explosion tore the night in two as the steam wagon smashed into the side of their carriage. The golden fossil on its stone flew from her hand, fracturing the windscreen into a spider's web, and Lily and Mama went flying after it, smashing through the glass and gaslights, streaking reflections and snowflakes, and Lily fell into a white drift of blankness, her head filling with a fuzz of bright, blinking pattern.